true. That's really true. Hey, it's me. So today, as you can tell from the title, I'm doing a Q&A. I haven't done a Q&A yet, mostly because I didn't ever think anybody would ever want to ask me a question. Maybe that's just me being self-depreciative. Anyway, I have a lot of video ideas right now and no energy or motivation to create, so I thought it would be fun to kind of fill that void by doing a Q&A and seeing what all y'all have to ask me. I don't think I'm going to be able to get through all of these questions because surprisingly I got a ton of questions. I asked on my YouTube community page, on Instagram, and on Twitter. Twitter I got the most questions, but some of these also, like, one question was actually filled with like 5 different questions. So I'm going to try and get through all of these. If I provide answers that are shorter than you expected, that's just because I'm trying to hit all the questions. So yeah, basically I'm going to do some short answers today and not try to do very much explaining because I need to get all of these out. Oh, in addition, I'm not going to be sharing anybody's names or ats, and that's just because I guess I have principles on sharing people's information. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the community page. Okay, the first question is, I would like to hear about your clan. I'm from the people of the Sheltered Bay. My dad is of the Burnt House people from the Wolf House. Nandodam. I belong to the Wolf clan as well. As you may know, I am Ojibwe, which is a sector of the Anishinaabe, and our clans are patrilineal, which means that we get our clan from our fathers, whereas a lot of tribes will get them from their mothers. So yes, I'm of the Wolf clan. I would like to hear more about your beadwork and dance style. What are some of the power teachings you know regarding protocol for future dancers who may come across your videos who are just learning? What does dancing and beading mean to you? And also what the floral designs you incorporated on your regalia represent, and what being Indigenous means to you. Woo! That could be like an entire video. Okay, so when it comes to my beading and my beadwork, I like to work with a lot of solid basic colors just because I don't really have the vision to do gradients and like different shades of hues and stuff. So I like that they noticed that I do floral designs because that's primarily what I bead with, is floral designs. I might do a little bit of geometric stuff in there and like gradients and whatnot, but floral mainly. As for my dance style, I am a jingle dress dancer. And I still have my fancy shawl from when I was like 11 years old. It's a little small for me, but I still dig it out if ever, you know, I go to like a drum social or something, because fancy shawl dancing's fun, man. So I still dabble in that a little bit, but primarily I'm a jingle dress dancer. And then regarding like protocol and stuff, I would say like powwows are a social event with different ceremonies like sprinkled in there. So it's kind of hard to come up with like an umbrella like this is what you do, because we do different things for the different ceremonies, if we even have them at the powwows. I mean, if you have any questions, like if you are an aspiring jingle dress dancer and you have questions about the teachings and things like that, you know, of course, I first encourage you to contact your elders or anybody else that can help you in your community, especially if you are not Ojibwe, because even though the jingle dress originated with the Ojibwe people, you know, your tribe might have different teachings about the dress and the healing and stuff. But I'm still available, like Twitter, Instagram, DM me and I can answer some questions. All right, I'm going to move on to the next question. When you made it on your beadwork, what fabric did you use? I'm assuming you're asking what type of material I bead on. So when I made my regalia, the cape, the leggings, and the moccasins were done on a premium felt. I kind of regret doing that though, especially after somebody, like an auntie in my community, was like, they told me that they really hated that I did that because the fibers and felt just aren't dense enough, and like if you pull out a thread enough, it can rip, and like the felt might break down over time. Primarily, I like to use Pellon number 70. You can get that either in a rolled package. You know what? I have some right here. Haven't opened yet. You can get it in like a rolled package like this, or you can go to like behind the cutting counter and they'll have it on the bolt. Hi, Editing Chelsea here. I realized that I completely skipped a question at this point. Not on purpose, I just missed it somehow. But the question asked where I get my inspiration for my dress from. I'm assuming my jingle dress. And basically, my favorite color is red. And I also like really dark colors like red, black. So I decided to incorporate those colors, and I included the rainbow part because, well, rainbows are pretty, and, you know, I'm LGBT as well. So, through all that together, the main inspiration for making a complete new regalia, I believe I explain it in my regalia show-off video, but basically, the one that I had was made when I was a teenager, so it didn't fit me properly, and I felt like I needed something that represented me now as an adult woman. So, yeah, just like floral beadwork, my love for the color red, and dark colors in the rainbow. I like watching vids. Can we have more? And what your best powwow to go to? Mine is Wiki. Well, yeah, of course you can have more videos. I'm working on it. I'm still a baby channel. What is your best powwow to go to? Mine is Wiki. I actually kind of, like last year, I had made the plan to come to Wiki this year. I actually decided not to before all the powwows were canceled, but it turns out it wasn't like I was going to make it this year anyway because all the powwows are canceled. As for my best powwow, I am not well cultured in traveling to other powwows. Most of the powwows that I've been to are just in my like immediate area. I think the furthest I've traveled for a powwow was like 5-6 hours. In like the western portion of the Upper Peninsula, I've been to a few downstate. The ones downstate are a lot bigger, like Sag Chip or what is it, Hastings. Those ones are way bigger than the ones that we have up here. But as for my favorite, it's, even if I did travel far away to other ones and like become well cultured in different powwows, I would say my home powwows, the Bay Mills one and the Sioux Tribe one, because those are home. So I have 2 questions, if that's okay. What's a native superstition that you've been taught by your elders? And do you have a favorite musical band or artist? And if so, then who? You mean besides the little people and not whistling at night? I think everybody has those superstitions pretty much. There's a lot. One that I've recently learned, and I don't know why not to do it yet, is apparently, I don't know if it's Ojibwe people as a whole, or if it was maybe just our band, or if this elder learned it from somewhere else. I don't know. We're not supposed to eat animals that hop, like rabbits or frogs. Any animal that hops, we're not supposed to eat it. I don't know why. I think she explained why at the time, but I just don't remember. And as for my favorite musical band or artist, just a second. Tool! When I tell you that I love Tool, if there are any musical bands that could describe me, it would be Tool and Deftones and Rage Against the Machine. Okay, I'm not going to go off into my whole list, but Tool is the #1 band that I love. I've seen them in concert twice, and yeah. Next question. Hi Chelsea, I am from the Dene Nation, Navajo. Love your videos. I like to maybe someday use beads to make something. I need a new hobby. Lol. Can you do a tutorial if you haven't already? Thank you. Give us a shout out in Utah. Hey, Utah. I have been asked quite a few times to do some beading tutorials, and I don't know, I'm just getting slow started on it. I can do some beading tutorials if you'd like. The primary reason that I haven't done any is because, well, let me just give a tiny little bit of a backstory. I know I said short answers, but I started doing tutorials on my channel on things that I couldn't really find comprehensive information on. So for instance, I needed to find how to get Gorilla Glue off of my moccasins and couldn't really find any information. I had to dig deep in the internet and then take pieces of information from different areas and kind of come up with things on my own. So I made a video about it in case anybody else needed to know how to get Gorilla Glue off of their moccasins. But that's something that I sought out to do, was to make tutorials on things that nobody has done yet. And with that being said, there are beading tutorials out there. I can't think, the only channel name that comes to mind right now is Mona C. But I can link some channels in the description if you're looking for beading tutorials like right now, and I'm just too slow to getting them to you. But I will do some beading tutorials in the future. What are some pros and cons specific to Native people in Michigan? For being a state with rich Native history, we sadly don't hear much about it in the mainstream. So Michigan actually has a ton of tribes. I think there are 12 federally recognized tribes. I don't remember the names of them all. In my area, there's us, Baymels, and then about 20 minutes from us is Sioux tribe. We're the same tribe, just different. We actually were the same band way back in the day, and then I don't know how we ended up being two different bands. But there's another tribe. There might be more bands that aren't federally recognized, but like the Mackinac band, I believe a lot of their members have been able to enroll in the Sioux tribe, but they really are their own band. I guess in Michigan specific, the pro is that there are so many of us. So, you know, we are close to each other. We're just a drive away, and there's just a lot of richness in our communities that we can exchange and share. And the cons would, I guess, I will say, like, Michigan is the Great Lakes state, and there's a lot of issues with our waters, and like Line 5, like the oil pipelines and stuff. So I guess that those are cons specific to us being in Michigan, is like our specific issues that we have to fight for. So I'm going to move on to the Instagram questions. Dentalium or bugle beads? I have actually never worked with Dentalium before. I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right. I almost bought some at the last powwow I went to, which was at Algoma University in Sioux, Canada, which was actually like the weekend before all the pandemic shit went down. I think it was like March 7th or something. And I distinctly remember that March 10th was like the first recorded case in Michigan, and everything started like canceling here and there, and everything's just like canceled indefinitely. But that was my last powwow. That was my last weekend where civilization was as it has been. So, and what ironically I told myself at that time was, I'm going to just save my money right now, and then I'll buy some Dentalium at the next powwow. So I guess I'm just going to say bugle beads right now, but I would really like to work with Dentalium soon. Metallic or matte? I work with mostly mattes. I have some metallic beads, and they're all really pretty. I guess it just kind of depends on what the project is. I'm just gonna vote for matte right now. Hod or nish? Now, You're really trying to get me into some trouble, aren't you? Oh, no comment. One more, because I can. Fave anime. I don't watch anime. I don't think I've ever really watched one. And like, I'm only answering this like I've answered it before because I have. I have some close friends who are really into anime, and these friends, they talked to me about anime recently for a specific reason, and I was just like, look, I've never watched one. I don't really care for it. It came down to the fact that the only one that I've really seen would be Puka from Netflix, and that's just because one day my kids were bored with their typical shows and I needed to like pick something a little different for them. So I picked a show called Puka, and apparently it's a pretty popular show that is kind of old. Like I thought it was like a Netflix original that was made like last year. Will you marry me? Ironically, this is one of my very close friends that likes anime, so I guess I'll marry you, but we're not having an anime wedding. Can you show us all your feathers? Yeah, this person has actually asked me before if I can do a video talking about my feathers. I can't remember what I said to them at the time, but I imagine it's what I would say now, is that I can do one, but it'll probably be like a 5-minute video, just like a short, which I'm sure y'all don't mind. Yes, I will do a video about all of my feathers. Tell us about your style. Your combus looks really slap. I love that you asked me this. Stay tuned, everybody. My style is everywhere, dude. Like, one day I will be all like alt and gothed out, and then the next day I'll be like they said, a combus or anokomis, which means grandmother in Anishinaabe Moen. Other days I'll just be in like my flannels and just scrub down. Other days I'll be like super political looking. But overall, my style is mostly dark colors. I really love like a black and red and gray like mixture of things. Yeah, that's all right. So I'm gonna move on to Twitter now. First question. No questions come to mind. Do you make your funk the P-funk? Do I look like a funk person? Is there a place in your heart that's calling you, but you can't go because COVID? Something that I really wanted to do once I finished school was to go down to my tribe's history department and learn more about my ancestors, like further down the line than a couple grades. And that's because I really don't know. It's not something that's like commonly discussed as like the names of our people that established like the Bay Mills Band, or you know, that lived further back than what, 1900. But I don't know any like of our ancestors' name further back, and something that I seen a lot of people doing was like sharing, like talking about, oh, I am a descendant of this great Indigenous woman or this great chief, and I'm like, I really don't know. Can I learn more about that, please? Opinion on frybread. Is it a reminder of colonization and a sad remnant of survival tactics, or is it a yummy reminder of Indigenous resilience? Both. Because that's how it was birthed, is, you know, that's a whole video on its own. Basically, yes, that's how it was birthed. Colonization and starvation, and that doesn't mean that it isn't, you know, yummy. It doesn't mean that we should stop embracing it, because even though it isn't like a traditional thing and at this point, it pretty much is traditional because it was made almost 100 years ago, generations ago. Something that I like to remind people is that not all of our practices existed like this entire time, and different things were tweaked, and then a lot of the things that we think of as traditional actually aren't. So it's okay for change to happen. It's okay to accept change because for one, our ancestors did, and for another, like a lot of things have been birthed that it's okay to embrace frybread. And I mean, resilience, as much as we glorify resilience and we love that about ourselves, that we are resilient, it's still kind of sad that we have to be resilient in the first place and that we've had to have been. So I don't know. I guess I can talk about that more another time, whether it's on video form or like a thread on Twitter or something. What's the strangest ingredient dish you've ever eaten in your life? Girl, I don't really eat weird things. I wouldn't say that I'm like picky, but I don't like to try weird shit. So I'm sorry that I'm like super boring on this question because I don't really try anything. I hope more than one is okay. How do you feel about fan arts? I mean, I haven't had a fan art made of me before. I would say they're okay. But like there was a recent situation on YouTube where a person was creating a lot of fan arts of other people in like the native Twitter community. Which, like, I don't know if that really qualifies as like fan art because these are just people with Twitter accounts. Like they aren't content creators of any kind. So this person was kind of just making art of random Twitter users. So does that count as fan art? But they called it fan art because they were like, I love these people. They really taught me a lot. But then we all kind of found out that they are an abuser in multiple ways. So, you know, when it comes to fan art, yeah, if your intentions are pure and you're making art of people who are like content creators or can consent to their fan art being made, then yeah, go for it. But like the second I find out that, you know, let's say you are a person that wants to make a fan art of me, the second I find out that you're an abuser of some way, like I have no problem dropping your ass. I'm sorry. Do you have any pet peeves? So I'm just gonna keep it a little wholesome here. I would say a big pet peeve of mine is like at the grocery store when people stand in the middle of aisles to have conversations with each other. And this is like pre and post pandemic as well. Does Nigana Snook say trans rights? Yes. Yes, I am absolutely pro trans rights. And I really want to do some more work in my community regarding that. And I don't know if you have seen my prior video where I spoke with Jordan from Twitter and Instagram about their experience as a Black Native, but I think that I want to do another episode of like a collaborative niche commentary, but with trans people. I want to include other LGBT people, and I want to do an episode dedicated to Two-Spirit people. So like if anybody wants to speak up and come talk with me, you know, hit me up. Any ongoing projects at the moment? Oh my, yeah. I have a forever list of projects. Like I gotta make my son his spreader for his roach. I gotta make I want to make my daughter a jingle dress. I'm supposed to help my aunt with her jingle dress, but she's having some health problems at the moment, so it'll probably be a while before we get going on that. Endless amounts of earrings that I make. I just bought like a thing of cabs from this Instagram account. I can't remember their name. I'll link them below, but a bunch of cute cabs for $20 that I want to make earrings from. Like tons and tons of projects I have, and some of these projects are also fixing stuff up. Like I want to resole my moccasins, just because I kind of sewed them on the wrong way. So what do you think of Baymail signing a treaty with Batch? Don't know what you're talking about. What do you think of Mac getting Fed recognition? Yeah, okay, so I spoke of that a little earlier in the video where I talked about Mackinac, the Mackinac tribe not being federally recognized. I think that they should. They should get recognized, especially when we think of how they became a band in the first place. Because again, we were all like one band back in the day. We were the Sault Ste. Marie band. I don't know what we called ourselves. And we sort of broke into different parts. And the Mackinac band, I believe they were people that didn't want to succumb to different colonization tactics. Like, I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's how Mackinac became a band, is because they didn't like certain decisions that were being made that were putting the United States first and us second. And so they broke away and decided to form their own band. And it's like, they should definitely be a band, like recognized now, because they're still Ojibwe people. They're just like, say, Baymail's breaking away from Sault Ste. Marie for whatever reason. We're recognized, but Mackinac isn't, and they should be. How do you feel about Aaron Paymont? Don't know him. He's the tribal chairman of the Sault Ste. Marie tribe, if any of y'all don't know. I'm a Baymail's person. I guess I should be paying attention to Sioux tribe politics, but I honestly don't as much. Dream vacation if you haven't been on it yet. This is gonna sound like super cliche, but France. I really would like to go to France one day. Favorite Indigenous beauty brands? I haven't tried them all. I would like to. So far I have a cheekbone beauty gloss, and I have some eyeshadow from Billy Beauty and Blended Girl. And well, ironically, their next question is Indigenous beauty brands you want to try. I want to try all of them. I've had like a list of brands that I've been sharing. I'll go ahead and share that list in the description as well. I really want to try Ashi Beauty. Before, like when I first discovered them, I think that they were only like for professional use, and they would only sell kits, like professional kits for makeup artists to use. But now they actually have like individual items that anybody can purchase, and they sell like foundation, concealer, the works. So I really want to try some of their like facial products. I want to try Prados Beauty. Is it Prados or Prados? Prados Beauty eyelashes. Like there's a ton. I would like to try them all, and I've been dreaming of doing like a full face of Indigenous beauty brands, but I also don't have $1,000 to spend on makeup in order to make that video happen. So let's say like a year or two down the line, y'all are gonna get that video eventually. What's your favorite type of video to film? So do we mean like when it comes to the aftermath, like the output that the video generates? Or do we mean like while I'm filming, what's my favorite to film? Because if we're talking while I'm filming, I love filming makeup videos because I love putting on makeup and playing with it and making new creations. But when it comes to like the output of filming videos, I really love doing tutorials and like craftwork tutorials. I've had so many people tell me that my ribbon skirt tutorial has helped them. And I also really love doing the commentary videos because I get a lot of people that tell me that they learned a lot from it and they thank me for it, and I'm really excited to do some more collaborations and really dive deep into some issues. Like I said before, my channel is just a baby channel and I haven't had a chance to talk about everything that I want to talk about yet. So stay tuned. What's your favorite makeup look you've done on your channel? I would say it was a regalia inspired makeup that I did for a Two-Spirit jingler. And it was like a brown with like a rainbow and like, How does it feel to be an Indigenous beauty influencer? Am I a beauty influencer? I don't know if I am. Especially when you compare me to other Indigenous beauty content makers, and maybe that's just because that's like primarily what they do, and like their Instagrams are devoted to beauty looks, whereas my presence on YouTube and social media is like not only beauty, but it's a bunch of other things. So the next video, do you plan on doing more beauty videos? Yes. Yeah, of course. I want to do some more regalia inspired makeup. Would you collaborate with other Indigenous beauty influencers? Yes, I would love to. And I've thought about it in the past, different ideas on what I can do with these other Indigenous beauty content makers, and maybe I'll get on that. What are your hobbies? Beading and sewing, basically. What is your perfect version of society? I don't have enough time to answer this question. One where all our tribes have our land back. Favorite band or artist? I answered this. Tool. Do you like lasagna? Love lasagna. What's your favorite color? I love a red, not just any red, but like a maroon, burgundy, cranberry type red. Love it. How was your time at school? Well, when I was in like elementary and middle school, it wasn't that great. I went to like a neighboring school, like in the white town over. We all did. When I was about 13, that's when our res school became established, and so I went there and I graduated from there. And I don't know, when it comes to like having friends and whatnot, we were all like the res kids that I hung out with at the other school that we went to. So I don't really have like the stereotypical whether I was like a cool kid or a bully or a nerd or whatever, like the different type of high school cliques that we tend to think about. We were a very, very, very small school, and everybody that I went to school with was like my friend or my cousin. So, do you have a favorite ice cream? Superman! Do you like musicals? Don't really care for them. My sister really likes musicals. I guess the only one that I ever really watched would be Grease 1 and Grease 2. And that's primarily just because my mom was a big fan of them. And so when I was a kid, like we used to watch it a lot and like listen to the music a lot. And so maybe it's just like a nostalgic vibe that I get from Grease. Do you like horror movies? Yes and no. I'm really freaking specific with the movies that I enjoy. Certain things that I hate that typically happen in like horror films, they don't like scare me. I can't enjoy them. They just piss me off. So like when the movies are basically based off somebody making a stupid decision, like there's something creepy in the basement, instead of like leaving the house and not getting involved because you could die, you're gonna go snoop around in the basement. But as for like horror films that I like I don't know, when I was a kid I really liked the movie It, and I don't know if this counts as a horror film, but Eraserhead comes to mind. I like Eraserhead. It's strange. Have you seen Ghosts in the Hood? No, I have not. Have you seen the show The Other Side on First Nations Experience? No, I have not seen that show and I don't know where to locate it. Have you played Skyrim? No, I actually was a pretty heavy gamer before I had kids. I liked Gears of War, Left 4 Dead. My favorite one back then and still now is BioShock. Oh, hold on. This is a plushie made by my friend, Cringe Monster Productions. She has a YouTube channel as well. And this is the little sister from BioShock. So if you haven't played BioShock, it's really fun. It's not your typical shooter. There's like potions that give you magic and I don't know, it's a lot of spooky things. I really like it. Do you like to read books? Yes and no. My use of books like comes in waves. So I'll go like years without reading a book for leisure. And then there's like a block of time where I'll read multiple books like back to back to back. I used to buy Hoka coffee, but they aren't online anymore. Do you have an Indigenous coffee company you use? I don't, but we do have a coffee shop on our reservation. Now that I think about it, I think they do make their own bagged coffee that you can buy. And I just never tried it. So I'm gonna have to buy a bag of coffee from them and try it. Do you listen to Frank Wayne? I don't know how to say that, and no, I don't, because I don't know who that is. Have you seen the bead sharing on Instagram and all that shit that went down with... Because of the asterisks, I can't tell what you're typing, but no, I didn't see any of that. What is a common misconception about you? Okay, so please don't take this as me like bragging or anything, but something that I hear a lot from this person that's commenting this too, actually, but like I've heard this online, I've heard it in person, basically my entire adult life, is that people think that I'm a badass of some sort. I'm not. I'm really not. What can we all do to help missing and murdered Indigenous women? Well, something that everybody can do is, of course, just talking about it, raising awareness about it, talking about statistics, talking about things that are big or small that contribute to it, because, you know, it's a social phenomenon that has multiple different causes. You know, it isn't rooted in just one thing, and a lot of these causes are things that people, they don't really think about, whether they don't believe it, they don't know about it, or they can't make any connections to different phenomenons. So like, for example, skimpy Halloween costumes of Native women, where it's like sexualizing Native women. People, whether they don't know, they don't believe it, or they just can't make any mental connections between the two, it's still something that exists. Like, sexualizing Native women does ripple into, you know, multiple other things that all contribute to this social phenomenon where people like to hurt Native women. So, how do you stay motivated in times like these? By doing a Q&A video instead of doing the other video ideas that I'm supposed to be kicking out. No, I don't know. I am not the best person to answer this question because I honestly have a hard time staying motivated myself. How do you usually decide what to make and with what colors? I never really plan out things far ahead of when I actually make them. I think the only thing that I really did that with was my jingle dress. Usually I have the colors picked out first, and when it comes to deciding what colors, I don't know. It depends on what I like, or what I think that the person I'm making it for will like, or whatever this person requested. And then when I sit down to get started on it, that's when I'm like, okay, and I just shit something out, and that's what I make. What was your very first bead project? I don't know.
So I basically just explained that I think it's this piece.
What's something you've always wanted to do but haven't yet? Um, okay. So I'm gonna get real sacred on y'all's asses real quick. And I might also get my Ojibwe card revoked. I haven't fasted before, and I've always wanted to, and I would really like to do that. Do you like traveling? Yeah, I love traveling. And like something that I tell people a lot is the fact that because of where I live, I actually have to travel to do basically anything. So like it's kind of a rural area, so there's no like concerts and shit. If I want to go to a mall, if I want to see different specialists and like for the medical field, like I have to travel hours and hours away to be able to do any of that. So, if so, what's your favorite place you've been to? My favorite place I've been. I had a good time in Manhattan. It was a lot of fun. My husband and I went there for 5 days. And we didn't go there with like an itinerary in mind. We just went there and like, what are we gonna do today? And we made our decisions like that day. Like, this is what we're gonna do. I had a really good time in Manhattan though. What is your favorite season and why? I like autumn. I don't know. I don't know why. I just like the coolness of it, like the cool air, the smell of the leaves, the colors of the leaves. I just really like it. I don't know. What is your favorite album / albums? Okay. Now this is a hard question because I've already answered that my favorite musical artist or band would be Tool. And when it comes to picking an album of theirs that I favorite, I'm just gonna stop trying to answer this question because I'll be like, well, no, this one, well, no, this one, and then you'll just have every Tool album that there is. Is it questions about powwows specifically? If so, where and when are they usually held? Hopefully this isn't a silly thing to ask. As for like where and when, currently in modern times, now that our spirituality is legal as of 1978, they happen whenever, wherever we want. Wherever there's space, we can have one. And in my area, they mostly happen in the summer and outdoors. And in the winter, there will be a couple that happen indoors. There aren't a lot in the winter where I live, like in my state, there aren't a lot. There'll be like socials or round dances and stuff. But I have noticed that a lot of tribes, like throughout the US, in places that, don't get snow or they don't get a lot or whatever, they have powwows like all the time, like year round. And I am extremely jealous of y'all. Everything, Purple Heart, love you. Love you too. What's something that's made you really happy recently? My sister actually made valedictorian at her high school, and that made me really happy, but she had to give a speech at her graduation, and like my sister is extremely shy, and she ended up freaking blowing me away. Her speech was exquisite. What do you think of Native American churches popping up around America that are used for white guys to legally give people ayahuasca? Main one I'm thinking of is the one in Kentucky. Vice did a little documentary on this. Okay, so I don't know about the one in Kentucky, but I'll have to go and look for that documentary on Vice and learn more about that one. Those churches can fuck off. Honestly. I'm like, okay, so there's this guy. I'm going to tell a quick story because this is the last question. There's this guy that I knew when I was a very young adult. I think I was like 18 or 19, but he's a Native man. He is from the Sioux band. I had a friend who had like room in her basement, and she let this guy stay in her basement. He used to just like talk blah, 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 about all his plans, and like he's got these investors and they're going to invest in this leather factory in Detroit. And like he promised my friend that her and her boyfriend could work at this factory for him, under him, in exchange for living in her basement, I believe rent-free. I'm pretty sure it was rent-free, and she allowed it because he was promising her a job. And he, like, the way he talked was very, like, eerily charismatic, because he even made me believe, like, oh, he's gonna open up a leather factory in Detroit. Next thing I know, this never happened. He like scammed people and moved away. And I found out that he is involved in one of these Native American churches that are fraudulent for whatever reason each church exists for. I don't remember the specifics of the one that he was involved in. I think it had to do with taking people's money and like being tax exempt and like sharing customs with people that it shouldn't be shared with. I'm pretty sure this church created their own tribe as well, where they enrolled non-native people. He also told these people that he is supposed to be like the inherent chief of his tribe, or that he is the chief of his tribe, and that he owns a certain plot of land that is like entrusted to him that isn't. There's a whole crazy ass thing with this guy. I don't remember everything. He's kind of estranged from his family. And the reason that I bring him up is because this is like an actual experience that I have with somebody who is involved in one of these weird churches. And there's quite a few of them, and I think that they are all exploitative. And oftentimes these people that run these churches and like run these sweats, they don't know what they're doing. They haven't been given permission from, you know, different spirits and the spirit world, the creator. Not only that, but they really like legitimately do not know what they're doing, because they might run a sweat that's too hot or allow people to join the sweat that shouldn't be joining, and then they end up having physical poor outcomes from it. So, whew, I have no idea how long this video is going to be. I feel like I've recorded like so long. So with that being said, I'm going to make this outro really short. I hope y'all had fun. Like I said, I was expecting more simple questions, but I had a lot of fun answering these anyway. So I will see you on the next video. Bye, my pig